The rain on the rooftop, the city stretched below like a sea of scattered stars, their glow muted by the steady rainfall that swept across the rooftop. Marcus Chen stood at the edge of the building, his expensive suit soaked through, his breath forming small clouds in the cold November air. He had come up here to think, to escape the suffocating walls of his corner office 20 floors below. His company was failing. 3 months, maybe 4, and everything he had built over the past decade would crumble into nothing. The investors were pulling out. The employees whispered in the hallways. His wife had stopped asking how his day went. Marcus closed his eyes and let the rain wash over his face. He wasn't planning to jump. He just needed to feel something other than the crushing weight of failure. That's when he heard the soft sound of bare feet on wet concrete. He turned slowly, carefully, and his heart stopped. A young woman stood near the rooftop access door, her white dress clinging to her skin, her dark hair plastered against her face. She was pregnant, very pregnant, and she was walking toward the edge of the roof with slow, deliberate steps. "Wait," Marcus called out, his voice rough. "Please wait." She didn't stop. She didn't even look at him. Her eyes were fixed on something far beyond the skyline, something Marcus couldn't see. He moved toward her, his shoes splashing through puddles, his hands raised in what he hoped was a calming gesture. "Don't jump," he said louder this time. "Please. Whatever it is, we can talk about it." The woman paused. She was only a few feet from the edge now, close enough that one more step would take her past the safety railing. She turned her head slightly, acknowledging his presence for the first time. "You don't understand," she said softly. Her voice was surprisingly steady, almost serene. "You can't understand. Try me," Marcus replied, taking another careful step closer. "I'm Marcus. What's your name?" She hesitated, her hand moving to rest on her swollen belly. "Sarah," she finally whispered. "Sarah Mitchell. Sarah." Marcus spoke her name gently, as if it were something fragile. "I know I'm a stranger. I know you don't have any reason to trust me, but I'm asking you to step back from that edge. Please." Sarah's eyes met his, and Marcus saw something there that shocked him. It wasn't despair or hopelessness. It was determination mixed with a deep, aching sadness that seemed to go beyond ordinary grief. "I didn't come up here to jump," Sarah said, and a faint smile touched her lips. "I came up here to remember." Marcus felt confusion wash over him, but he didn't let his guard down. He had read enough articles, sat through enough corporate training sessions about crisis intervention to know that suicidal ideation could shift and change in moments. "Remember what?" he asked, staying still, not wanting to spook her. Sarah looked back at the city, her expression distant. "This building, this rooftop, this view. My husband proposed to me here 3 years ago. Right where you're standing." The rain fell harder now, drumming against the concrete and the metal railing. Marcus waited, sensing that she needed to talk, needed someone to listen. "He was a photographer," Sarah continued, her voice barely audible over the storm. "He loved rooftops, loved the perspective they gave him. He said you could see the truth of a city from up high, all the beauty and all the broken pieces at once." "Was?" Marcus heard himself ask, though he immediately regretted the question. Sarah's hand moved in a slow circle over her belly. "Car accident. 6 months ago. He never got to know about the baby. I found out the day after his funeral." Marcus felt his own problems shrink in the face of her grief. His failing company, his strained marriage, his bruised ego, they all seemed trivial suddenly. This woman had lost everything and was carrying new life inside her at the same time. "I'm so sorry," he said, and he meant it with every fiber of his being. "I come up here sometimes," Sarah explained, finally stepping back from the edge. She moved toward the center of the rooftop, where an old ventilation unit provided some shelter from the rain. "I know I shouldn't. The building management would probably ban me if they knew. But I needed to be here tonight. 9 months. It's been 9 months since he proposed, and tomorrow is my due date." She sat down carefully on the concrete, leaning against the metal of the ventilation unit. Marcus approached slowly and sat beside her, maintaining a respectful distance. "You must think I'm crazy," Sarah said, looking at him. Standing on a rooftop in the rain while 9 months pregnant, Marcus shook his head. I think you're grieving. I think you're trying to hold on to something precious. I don't think that's crazy at all. They sat in silence for a moment, listening to the rain and the distant sounds of traffic far below. Marcus thought about his own life, his own struggles. They seem so small now, so manageable. I saw you when I came up here, Sarah said quietly. You were standing at the edge, too. Not planning to jump, but thinking about it. Wondering if it might be easier. Marcus looked at her sharply, surprised by her perception. How did you... Because I've been there, Sarah interrupted gently. In the weeks after he died, I thought about it constantly. How easy it would be to just let go. But then I found out about the baby, and I realized I was carrying a piece of him forward. A piece of our love. And that changed everything. She reached into the pocket of her soaked dress and pulled out a small waterproof camera. He gave me this, made me promise I'd keep taking pictures, keep seeing the beauty in things, even when everything felt dark. Sarah lifted the camera and took a photo of the skyline, then one of the rain-slicked rooftop. Finally, she turned it toward Marcus. May I? He nodded, and she captured his image, a soaked, exhausted CEO sitting on a rooftop in the rain beside a pregnant stranger. What will you do? Marcus asked. Tomorrow and the day after that? Sarah smiled, and this time it reached her eyes. I'll have this baby. I'll raise our child. I'll tell them stories about their father and show them his photographs. I'll teach them to see the world the way he did, with wonder and hope and appreciation for the broken, beautiful pieces. She stood up slowly, and Marcus rose to help her. And tonight, she continued, I'll go home. I'll dry off and make some tea, and remember that even in the hardest moments, we're not alone. Sometimes strangers on rooftops remind us of that. Marcus walked her to the rooftop access door, making sure she got safely inside. Before she disappeared down the stairs, Sarah turned back to him. Whatever you're going through, she said, it's not the end. It's just the middle of a longer story. Don't forget that. As Marcus stood alone on the rooftop, watching the rain fall on the city below, he thought about stories and middles and the ways we save each other without even knowing it. His company might still fail. His marriage might still need work. But he would face tomorrow differently now. He would face it with hope.